Shark Game here, coming at you with another episode from ChooseYourRelationships.com of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. And I got a question from somebody, and they said, if you had to do it all over again, would you change anything about your past? And what advice would you give to guys in their 20s in regards to dating? Man, that's a good question, man. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't change anything. What I would do, there's some things that I would have done better, and maybe I'd have been much more ahead and well off. But I wouldn't necessarily change anything about my past because those were the cards that were dealt to me. There's some things I felt like in my 20s I should have known, but I didn't. However, what I would say to a 20-year-old today is, most of the stuff I learned, most of the stuff you learn between the ages of say 17 to 21 is lies. Most of the stuff that you learn in school, high school, unless you go to private school, but if you go to public school, most of that stuff you learn is lies and it's useless, really. Everything that you've been told about history, most of it is lies. And what I would say is 80% of your time in your 20s should be spent on you, building yourself, becoming a better version of yourself. Experiment a lot. Get a passport. Travel. You shouldn't be locked down in a relationship with somebody. You shouldn't be trying to convince a woman to be with you. And I made a lot of those mistakes. I used to try to talk women into being with me and campaign hard and try to convince her why I'm the better man than he is. And I made all those mistakes. But in the 20s, you shouldn't find yourself in anything like that. You should never get married in the 20s. It's just too early, and you're just trying to find yourself. So that's what 80% of your time should be. And I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to women, but you shouldn't be hard pressed in being with a woman. A woman shouldn't be your sense of existing and living in life. Woman can be a part of what you got going on. Woman can be a part of your life, but she shouldn't be the holy grail of your livelihood. You know what I'm saying? It should never be like that. Because at the end of the day, either they in or they out, and that's really how it is. And if you have to convince somebody to be with you or talk to you, they're just not for you. You know what I'm saying? And in your 20s, in my 20s, I didn't understand that. I thought that I had to have a nice car, nice clothes, a nice place to live, a nice bank account. I thought I had all of that. Then the woman would choose. But no, that's a completely backwards way of thinking about it. What it is I used to put women on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? And I learned after a while that I pretty much lost my way. Because when I grew up, I didn't see that. Where I grew up, the men were the prize. And if the women wanted to get with the guys, the women had to step it up. But sometime along the way, I lost my way, just like most of us do. And just like a lot of guys today have lost their way. So you are the prize, not the other way around. You know what I'm saying? So if you get your shit together, and once you become a much better person, and it's going to take time. It's a process. It's a journey. You know, women are going to have to step their game up to get with you. This is why you should spend 80% of your time working on you. Because the best relationship you can have is with your damn self and not anyone else. So don't let anybody fool you. And you're going to run across a lot of people, a lot of women that's going to tell you differently. And the reason why they're going to say that, because it benefits them. It doesn't benefit you. If I tell you you're the prize, that doesn't really benefit her on the surface. Now, the long term, it does. But most women, they can't see it because they want instant gratification. You know what I'm saying? We live in a society where most people want things fast, right? So you got to always have short-term goals and long-term goals. And, you know, the earlier you get, the earlier you learn this, and the earlier you start working on and experimenting and traveling around in the world, the earlier the better. So by the time you hit 30, 35, you're on the right track. You're full speed ahead. You have a grasp of what's going on in the world, in society. This is why you got to get a passport and you got to travel. Because if you stay in one place, one state, one city, you only gonna learn and you're only gonna know but so much. You know what I'm saying? And we live in a society today where they capitalize on people's ignorance or lack of knowledge or lack of information that they may not have. That society, well, it's always been that way, you know. So, and another thing that you have to realize that I've been hearing the same shit for 22 years from different people around me. You know, people saying, "Oh, you're a scam artist," because they'll come to my house, they'll see the type of books I have laying around or whatever, and this has happened to me for the past 22 years. People will come to my house, and I might have one book on the table, and they say, "Oh, you're that type of guy. You're a scam artist. You're on the internet. You're selling products. You know, they'll come up with any scenario, right?" So I'm like, I mean, it might catch you off guard, and you might be a little shocked that the same person that claimed they love me, that I spent all this time with, is saying things that offends me. I mean, whose side are you really on? You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have people that really don't believe in themselves, because what they're saying, it doesn't really have anything to do with you. It's all about how they feel about themselves. And you have to always realize that if you're a non-white person living in the United States of America, you're never gonna have enough support. You're always gonna have to fight and push through a lot of things in order to get what you want. You're always gonna have to go against the grain, because in American society especially, and even in some other countries as well, everybody's pretty much trying to do the same shit. And if you're doing anything different or anything outside of the box, people tend to get uncomfortable, and they're very negative too. So just keep that in mind, because if you're trying to be a trendsetter, you're trying to be great, you're trying to be the best, you're trying to be on top of your game, you're trying to do do things big, do some fly shit. A lot of women don't want a guy like that. A lot of women, now they think they want a guy like that. They think they want a guy that's on television. They think they want to be around these celebrities all the time. They think they want to live that life. But once they get a taste of what it feels like being around these types of people and living that type of life and having that type of life, they're in for the rude awakening. And then they realize that this shit is not what I thought it was. So a lot of women really don't want those type guys. They really want the guy that's average and mediocre. The guy that works 40 hours a week, maybe might have kids, house, wife, probably don't travel or leave town very often. He might make $40,000 a year, if that, and he's just content. He'll live happily ever after. Those are the guys that most women want, but they aren't gonna tell you that though, because they think they want the guy that's doing some fly shit, the guy that's ambitious, the guy that's an entrepreneur. They really don't want those guys. So what if you're trying to be great and you find yourself getting a lot of pushback? You're going in the right direction. But just know that you're not going to have a lot of support. A lot of people are going to be against you. See, but at the end of the journey, you're going to have somewhere between 2 to 5 people that's going to be in your corner. That's it. You're not going to be like a celebrity or something like that. I doubt it. It could happen, but the odds are against it. At the end of the day, you're going to have 2 to 5 people that's really in your corner, that's really down for you. And some people that you have around you, you're going to have to let them go because they're going to become too much of a liability. And a lot of women, a lot of guys that get married in their 20s, they find this out because when a lot of these women, they'll get married to these women in the 20s, and by the time they hit late 30s, they're sick. They're diabetic. They got cancer. They've been partying and drinking and smoking and getting high, all in the 20s. And when they hit late 30s, early 40s, they hit a wall. And they don't look the way they used to look. And a lot of these women become a liability. And cancer and diabetes in America is like an epidemic. But cancer is like an epidemic in a lot of these first world countries. Places like Japan, in UK, all across the UK, Australia. I mean, it's hot. They got cancer hospitals specifically for women in America, all across America. So you have to really be careful. You're when it comes to women, you have to choose well. You're looking for a team player. That's what you're really looking for. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's why if you work on yourself, if you build yourself, the quality of women is much better, because a lot of those women that are kind of like mediocre or amateur or below, they're not gonna fuck with you because they're gonna be intimidated. So the more you build yourself, the cream, they say the cream always rises to the top. And you want a team player, and because that's going to be your business partner. Because a lot of guys find out the hard way once they in court, paying alimony and child support, and the woman might call the police on him and shit. She wasn't really down with him. You looking for a ride or die chick. You know what I'm saying? You ain't look because you gotta realize you're only as strong as the people that you have around you. So if you surround yourself with people that's mediocre, average, you're probably not going to be where you want to be in the next 10 to 15 years. And, this is some of the things that I wish I knew when I was in my 20s, but I didn't. Because the truth is, man, some things you have to learn on your own. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is, man. But one of the best things you can do is try to surround yourself around the right people. And you have to learn how to be a self-promoter. You have to learn how to market and promote you, or maybe something that you might have. And you have to be a self-promoter. You have to learn how to market yourself. You have to learn how to present yourself. And you have to really learn how to think on your feet. You never let them see you sweat, like they always say. So 80% of your time should be dedicated to doing just that. And I think you're worth it. And I wrote about a lot of this stuff in my book, A Chicken's Guide to Having Women Beg for You, Sex, Lust, and Lies. And my other book called Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. I wrote about this shit in extensive, deep details of how I overcame my trials and tribulations in my 20s when I was in college, all through the times when I was in the Navy, and even after the Navy, and all the way up until the 2012. I wrote about all my trials and tribulations, and all my travels, and all the places that I've been, and all the type of women I ran into, and all the type of people that I had good, bad, negative, positive experiences with, man. So these are just some things I wish I would have known when I was in my 20s, because the education system in this country is garbage, and all they do is teach you they train you how to do things, but they don't teach you who to become, and how to think, and how to execute. They don't teach that. They don't teach you how to think, because at the end of the day, the thinking man wins, along with actions. So if you like what you heard, check out my blog, ChooseYourRelationships.com, and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, Shump Games out. Peace.